We'll derive the Newton's three equations now. Newton's first equation of motion, second equation of motion, and third equation of motion. So let's see how the derivation is. So here we will be dealing with velocity time graph. Now, logical or important thing about velocity time graph is that if you want to find displacement of any body, you simply have to start from the starting point, go to the ending point of the motion. Whatever area will be swept by the body during that time will give you the displacement. So what will give you the displacement on a velocity time graph? The area covered by the body from beginning to the end of the motion. So now let's talk about a body having mass m traveling from point A at an initial velocity of u. So where is the body beginning to travel from? It is starting to travel from the point A, and when it was at point A, what was its initial velocity? U. That was its initial velocity. Right? Now it started traveling, and when it is traveling, what is happening? I'm going upward because what is happening? The velocity is going on increasing. See, this value is 0. So somewhere 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 like that. You will have numberings on the y-axis, right? So if I'm going like this, means what am I doing? I'm climbing up. My value is going up and up and up for velocity. Means what? My velocity is going on increasing linearly. Right? So the body is traveling here from point A at an initial velocity of u, and then while it is traveling, the velocity is increasing uniformly, and the velocity increases to a value of v. By the time the body reaches at point C, the velocity has already become v. And how much time did it take to travel from this point A to C? That will be shown by the x-axis. So just drop a dotted line here. See where it intersects. Point E. Where did it start from? O. So O to E is going to be the time taken. It's going to be the time taken. Let us assume t. So we have assumed that the time taken is t. Okay? So a body at rest? No, you have not taken body at rest. Have you taken a body at rest here? No. You have taken a body which is traveling with an initial velocity u. How to represent a body at rest? Supposing a body started from rest and then started having velocity. How do you represent on the graph? The graph is going to be like this. Means it will start from 0. So the body started its motion from the origin, 0. Matlab it started from rest. Okay? In our case here it is not starting from rest, it is starting with some initial velocity u. So that is why we have to start somewhere above the 0, above the origin, not at the origin. Clear? Alright? So this you have to bear in mind, and there may be some questions asked in the exam based on the diagram, so you should know this. Okay? So after this basics, let's go forward. So what have we got till now? We have understood that there is a body which started its motion from point A and reached up to point C. When it started at A, the initial velocity was u. When it reached the point C, its velocity became v, which is final velocity. So the final velocity was v, the initial velocity was u, and the time in which it went from u to v, that time is t. Okay? Fine. So this is what we know from the graph currently. Now let's see. Let's go point by point. Tell me here, if I go by definition of acceleration, what is the definition of acceleration? So by definition, let me drop this part. Now this part is not required. By definition, acceleration A is equal to what? Final velocity minus initial velocity, the whole divided by time. Final velocity minus initial velocity, the whole divided by time. So therefore A is equal to, what is the final velocity? OB. OB minus, what is the initial velocity? OA. So OB minus OA upon, how much time did they take to reach from U to V? T. So the time is T. Did you get that now? So A is equal to OB minus OA upon T. Now, AT is equal to OB minus OA. Right? So when I take the P here, what do you get? AT is equal to OB minus OA. Now, what is OB minus OA from the figure? What do you see? OB, from that you subtract OA, remove OA. What remains? AB. So what do I get? I get AT is equal to AB. Why? Because O dash, A dash, B, betweenness property. Betweenness property, chapter number 1 in your geometry, collinear points. So when the points are collinear, OA plus AB will be equal to OB. OA plus AB is equal to OB. Correct? So AB is going to be OB minus OA. So from OB, which is V, I subtract OA, which is U, I will get AB. Right? So I got AB is equal to AT. Remember this. This is your equation which you're going to need later on. Alright? So this is Roman number 1. Since this is the reason. Okay? Now I go to the other aspect now. Now I come back to this side. So this part is over. This part helped me get the value of AB. Now let me go to this part, this side of it. Quadrilateral. Now what will I say? I will say, look here, CE. How do you get CE? CD plus DE. Correct? Now we can see CE is equal to CD plus DE. Why? Betweenness property again. CE is made up of two parts, DE plus CD. These two parts join together to form CE, right? So CE is equal to CD plus DE. Neighboring segments, when you join, you will get a longer segment. So reason is C dash D dash E. Again betweenness property. Geometry chapter 1. Alright, now let me substitute. So what is CE? Starting from C up to E. What is CE? V. CE is nothing but OB. CE is nothing but OB. Why? Because quadrilateral OECD is a rectangle. Correct? So CD is what? What is CD? Let us keep it CD only right now. So CD is nothing but AB. What is DE? DE is nothing but OA. Right? Why do you say so? Because quadrilateral OECD is a rectangle. What do you know about a rectangle? What is the specialty of a rectangle? Opposite sides are congruent. Correct? So whatever is the length of CE, same will be the length of opposite side OB. Whatever is the length of BC, same is the length of OE. Whatever is the length of BA, same is the length of CD. So you have said OECD is a rectangle. Similarly, BADC is also a rectangle. So quadrilateral BACD and quadrilateral OECD are rectangles. So we will say are rectangles. Alright, fine. What is OB now? We all know what is OB. V. What is AB? Now look, I told you this will be required later. AB. What is that? AT. And what is OA? OAU. So V is equal to AT plus U. I can rearrange and I can say therefore V is equal to U plus AT, hence proved. hence crude. So the first equation is crude. Okay? Alright? So how did I begin to prove the first equation? First I drew the graph. Understanding the graph is very important. What are the things that you want to mark? When you draw the graph, first of all it has to be a velocity time graph. So you have to write velocity on the y-axis, time on the x-axis. Velocity on the y-axis, time on the x-axis. Then next what you will do? You will show a body which is traveling from point A and going to a point C. When it is doing that, when you draw dotted lines here on the y-axis, you get a point B whose value will be final velocity, which is V. The point where it started from, you will call it A, and the initial velocity is U. The time which it took from going from U to V, from A to C, that time is going to be T, right? And then just draw a dotted line below later on, and draw a dotted line here. These two are rectangles. B, C, E, O is a rectangle. B, C, D, A is also a rectangle. Correct? That we can see from the figure itself. Now, first we will begin with the definition of acceleration. What does the definition of acceleration say? Acceleration is equal to final velocity minus initial velocity upon time. So acceleration is equal to final velocity minus initial velocity upon time. We begin the derivation from there. Okay? Then A is equal to, now what is final velocity here? Final velocity starting from 0 to B, so OB. What is initial velocity starting from 0 to A, so OA. So final velocity OB minus OA upon time, which is T. Take the B here, so it becomes OB minus OA is equal to AT. Now what is OB minus OA? Look at OB and look at OA. From this entire thing, if I have a stick which is this long and I cut OA from it, how much part of the stick will remain? AB. Are you understanding this? It is called betweenness property in geometry, which is what is written here, O dash A dash B. Okay, so by the property of betweenness, you get AT is equal to AB. Right? Now we will come to this side, this entire length. In this length, CE is equal to CD plus DE. This part plus this part will be giving you full part. So the full stick is made up of two parts. We'll add the two parts of the stick and we'll get the full stick. So CD is one stick, DE is another stick. When I add it, I get a longer stick which is CE. Correct? That is called betweenness. So that's what I've written. Right? Now, because it is a rectangle, CD will be equal to AB. Opposite sides congruent. Opposite sides have to be congruent. So CD ka length will be AB ka length. So instead of CE, I will put OB. Instead of CD, I will put AB. And similarly, instead of DE, I will put OA. Because they are rectangles. They are equal. Opposite sides are equal. Okay. So what is CE now? CE is OB. What is OB? V. What is AB? AT. What is AB? AT. And what is OA? U. So V is equal to AB plus U. AT plus U. Meaning V is equal to U plus AT. Okay? That is how the first derivation gets over. Alright? Now we go to derivation number 2. Alright? Now we will go to the second kinematic equation or the second law of equation from Newton, which says S is equal to ut plus half at square. Consider that body which was moving in the first kinematic equation which we show. Consider that that body has a displacement of S in time t. So in this time period t, when the body was traveling from A to C, let us say the displacement that it could cover is S. Small s, because displacement V, the symbol for displacement is S. Alright? So, logically, I told you when I was explaining few minutes back that logically, how do you find a displacement in a velocity time graph? By finding the area swept by that body. Correct? So, how much is the area swept by this body? It started from A, it went up to C. What is the area from A to C? The vertical lines I have shown by shading through vertical lines here. The H lines, it shows you the area covered under this. What shape is it? Can anyone tell me? It's a trapezium shape, right? Trapezium shape. Now, trapezium you can find area by two ways. Any trapezium, the area can be found in two ways. One, treat this part as a rectangle. Treat this part as a rectangle. And then treat this part as a triangle. So this is a triangle and this is a rectangle. Add the rectangle area with the triangle area, you will get the total area, total trapezium area here. Correct? Achha, what is the other way? What is the other logic of getting the trapezium? Formula. What is the area of a trapezium? Area of a trapezium is equal to half into sum of the parallel sides into height. I repeat, half into sum of the parallel sides into height. That is going to be give you the area of the trapezium by formula. That's a geometrical formula that we have. Correct? So there are two ways of finding area of the trapezium. Now, the first method, which is find out area of rectangle, find out area of triangle and add it. That you are going to use for Newton's second equation. And for Newton's third equation, we will use the geometrical formula of trapezium, saying area of this trapezium is equal to half into sum of parallel sides into height. Alright? Clear? So both the methods we are going to use. One method will give us second equation, the other method will give us the third equation. Is that clear? That's an easy way to remember. Area of quadrilateral AOEC is equal to area of rectangle, which is the rectangle, quadrilateral AOED plus area of triangle. And what is that area of triangle? Triangle ADC. Right? Fine. Therefore, okay, S is equal to, now area of rectangle. What is area of rectangle? Length into breadth. What is the length? OE. Into breadth. What is the breadth? OA. Okay, plus what is area of a triangle? Half into base into height. So half into who's going to be the base? AD. And who will play the role of height? CD. Okay, this is very clear to you all. Please pay attention, very important. So what did you say? Displacement. How do you find displacement? By finding the area swept in this region. Entire region, if you sweep, find out the area, it will give you the displacement. So displacement is area of the trapezium, which is equal to rectangle area plus triangle area. Now, what is the rectangle ka formula? Length into breadth. What is triangle's area? Half into base into height. So, length into breadth, half into base into height. Alright? Base, height, AD into DC. Then rectangle length OE, breadth OA. Length OE, breadth OA. So, OE into OA. Clear? Now, therefore, S is equal to, what is OE? T. And what is OA? U. So, U into T. Plus half into, what is AD? AD. AD is also time T. What is CD? CD is 80. How CD is 80? Because CD is AB. And AB is 80 you proved in the first kinematic equation itself. You remember? You put it into a block saying I told you will require this later. So not only in proving the first one you will require, but also in the second one you will require it. Alright? So second one also CD is nothing but AB, which is nothing but 80. So you have got 80. Now what do you get? Therefore S is equal to UT plus half A T into T, T square. Hence proved. See how simple it is. That's it. Done. So you got the second kinematic equation proved. So what was the logic? Simply area of a trapezium. You simply find the area of a trapezium by splitting up into rectangle and triangle. Now, if you don't split it up as rectangle and triangle and directly use the geometrical formula, you will get the third kinematic equation. I told you that, right? So let's see how you get that. So for third kinematic equation, you will say, what do you say? Also, S is equal to area of the quadrilateral AOEC, which is a trapezium. Okay, so ideally you can say area of trapezium. So you can say S is equal to area of trapezium. Okay, what do you mean by area of trapezium? So S is equal to area of the quadrilateral A. Now you can name AO AOEC. AOEC. Now, what is area of a trapezium? Half into sum of parallel sides into height. So half into sum of parallel sides. Parallel sides are who? OA plus CE. So these are the parallel sides. Multiply by height. Now what is the height? OE. OE will play the role of height. So this is what you get. S is equal to half into OA plus CE into OE. Now just substitute. That's done. So S is equal to half into, what is OA? U plus CE is B into P. OE is T. This is what you get. Now, again first kinematic. See, for proving the third kinematic also you need the first kinematic. What is the first kinematic? Let me write here. What is the first kinematic equation? V is equal to U plus AT. So, V minus U will be AT. So, V minus U upon A will be T. Okay. Okay. Do you have this mind? So, from there I will say, but I should continue here. I'll continue here. But V is equal to U plus AT. Therefore, V minus U is equal to AT. Therefore, V minus U upon A is equal to T. I want T, right? I have T here. So, instead of T now, I will write the value of T. What is that? V minus U upon A. Because V minus U upon A is also T only, right? So, instead of T, now I will say, therefore, S is equal to half U plus B how did it fall? चाल चूल करने के लिए so S is equal to half into U plus V into time. Time is what? V minus U upon A. V minus U upon A. V minus U into V plus U is what? V square minus U square. So therefore S is equal to V square minus U square. ये 2 और A नीचे है तो इसको 2A नीचे लिखने का. अभी 2A को उधर लेके जाओ. So 2AS is equal to V square minus U square. अभी V को इधर रखो, U को इधर लेके आओ. So V square is equal to U square plus 2AS. Hence true. That's it. So this is how we get the third kinematic equation also.